3 Xbox games that can be bought on the cheap, each game for less than £5 each. Ka-ching! First on the list is Serious Sam for the Xbox. This was developed by Croteam. This game was originally developed for Microsoft Windows, but due to its popularity it was ported to many systems. I believe it was released for the Xbox in 2002. Despite the game's title, this game does not take itself very seriously at all, and it's very tongue-in-cheek.
Just once, I'd like to wake up in the morning and not have to fight off an alien invasion. You know, most people would have run away by now. I am.
The game has a very enjoyable single player mode, but can also be played multiplayer either through split screen or a system linking another Xbox console. Fans of the early 3D Duke Nukem series and Doom will be very familiar with this. It is old school first person shooter mayhem. The main character, Sam Stone, needs to travel back in time to defeat Mental and his army of grotesque monsters who have taken over the Earth. The game is very humorous, and the main character, although he is butchy, is quite funny at times.
Yourself.
The game features many types of monsters that you will need to obliterate. The action is fast paced and you will need to be on your toes to progress through the missions and achieve your objectives. You have a health bar that will diminish quickly if you're not careful, and you are also given lives. So if you die, you are able to respawn at that same point, but you can also lose lives quickly in some tricky areas. At the end of each mission you are given a stat count of how well you have done. There are many different weapons that you can obtain through the mission. Examples are swords and chainsaws, shotguns, grenade launchers and rocket launchers. The game can feel too frantic at times with the amount of waves of enemies seeking your blood. If you're a fan of the old school first person shooters that doesn't take itself too seriously despite its name, then this is a must have. Or likewise, if you would like a change of pace from the norm benchmark that is Call of Duty and them style of games, then definitely give this a try. Instead of teabagging your online opponent, you seem to get butt raped by the aliens. The next game I'm talking about here is Whiplash. This was developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Eidos Interactive. Released in 2004. And as you can probably tell by the footage, it is set in an unethical science lab that cruelly experiments on animals. Whiplash is a platform game for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox, where a long-tailed weasel named Spanx and a rabbit called Redmond find themselves chained to one another. The aim of the game is to free Spanx and Redmond from the evil corporation known as Genron.
Isn't that fantastic? And what about this? Doesn't that make you smile a big one? But how in the name of science do we do it? Lean in close. The secret is animals. Yes, animals.
Despite the game being a constant reminder that mankind can be so cruel, this game is fun and does have its moments.
It's the voice from all the movie trailers.
During the game, you are also required to free other animals who are being cruelly tested or humiliated.
Freshwater trout.
Yeah, I think we've all jumped over.
Although there are 2 characters in the game, the player controls only Spanx really, and using Redmond as a weapon or a tool as the situation requires. Just about everything is breakable in the game. Each item is assigned a dollar amount, and the aim of the game is to make more than $6 million in damage.
Sorry for holding you back. Whatever is left of my fur, apologies.
By hitting this total, special content can be unlocked. This is a fun 3D platformer, however, it is sometimes difficult to ignore the model conflict. There is a constant reminder of the cruelty of animal experimentation.
You know how inappropriate that is?
However, on the other side, you are constantly hurting your bunny friend to progress through the level. As a consequence of the experiments made on Redmond, he is indestructible. And even though it's portrayed in a cartoon way, he still feels pain. This just makes you want to slap the humans harder. Despite the to-in and fro-in of the model pendulum, this game is really fun and it has a lot of funny moments in it also.
No, little bunny. You don't eat me. I eat you.
The platforming itself is fun, although sometimes the camera can be a little difficult to control. As you progress through the game, you will learn new skills which will help you advance and kick ass. Although this game didn't receive very favourable reviews at the time, I think this is a very fun platform game for the Xbox and definitely worth picking up at a cheap price. The game is full of cartoon charm, however under this charm there is a strong message about animal cruelty, and I think that is what the developers were aiming for. This is a very unique game that I recommend everybody should at least try.
Ow! Actually, this is not that bad. Can't really complain about this one.
Dead or Alive 3, released by Tecmo in 2002. This was an exclusive to the original Xbox and it was a launch date title. Although this was an exclusive for the Xbox, it's very similar to the PS2 versions of Dead or Alive 2 and the one that was also on the Dreamcast, however there are some minor tweaks. Dead or Alive 3 features a total of 18 fighters, including 17 playable characters and the boss character Genra. Anyone who is into their fighting games has probably already played the sequels and maybe even the prequels, but for such a cheap price I think this game still holds its own. Each character has their own cutscenes and storyline. However, the voice acting is in Japanese, so if you're like me, you will need to rely on the subtitles. The main reason for playing arcade fighting games isn't necessarily for the storyline, but if you do want to progress in the story you will have to take on this boss, and unfortunately there is a bit of SNK boss syndrome about this. Oh come on, one more hit, oh you son of a bitch. Oh come on, oh no! Come on, we'll get him this time, just one more hit. Oh you, come on. This time, no! Oh, one more shot, oh you son of... Anyhow, the fighting technique and controls are really tight in this game. It is a game that is easy to pick up but hard to master. It doesn't have the special moves or the technical button combinations of Street Fighter, but I think it's an easier game for anybody to pick up and play. Although it is a game where button mashers will find some initial success, to progress further and to challenge people more adequately you will need to learn the nuances of the game. The graphics in the game hold up strong even by today's standards. Maybe I haven't seen enough of the game, but the ladies seem more covered up and the boob physics that the Dead or Alive series is known for seems to be not as obvious. As well as the story mode and single battle mode, there is also tag modes, time attack, survival mode and a plethora of other options for you to choose from. Each stage is varied in terms of weather conditions and environments, as well as areas you can kick your opponent off to fight on a lower tier. This game can be bought for £2 or £3, so even if you do have any of the later games, I still think this one is worth buying. Oh come on this time, surely, please. Oh no, come on. Come on. Yeah! Well, it wouldn't be a Dead or Alive game if they weren't scantily clad at some point. Nice graphics. So that's tits for Dead or Alive 3. Thanks for watching.